Make sure we are live. We are live. How you going, folks? How you going? How you doing, folks? Welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live. I am your host, yakinwithsarah. This fellow right here is Anthony Horton from Anthony Horton Fishing. You can check out his channel in the description below. Go ahead and say hey to everybody, Anthony.
How y'all doing?
We are a few minutes early here, but I wanted to go ahead and get a jump start. I am actually on time and prepared tonight. I say that very forgivingly because that's every time I say that something ends up going wrong. So we've got Anthony in here and we're going to be talking about some beginning bass fishing stuff, really basics, breaking everything down for everyone. Any questions that you guys have about just the basics of bass fishing, or even questions that you might not understand that people have posted on Facebook or on YouTube, Anthony or I can answer all those for you, hopefully. So, got a couple of people in here already. We've got Patriot, Dredgers and Catfishers. He's got a new Facebook page everybody can check out. We've got Johnny Bunton in here. Anthony is outside. They are actually camping right now. Virginia in here. Dirty Oar Catfishing. How is everybody doing? I'm going to go ahead and get this scroll going, something new. I'm going to be having a scroll on the bottom of the page and give you guys updates from my area or areas across the United States. If you guys have any information that you want me to include in the news feed down below, just let me know. I'll be happy to include that as long as it's fishing related. I'll go over that in just a little bit, but for now I'm going to do some more. Norris, how are you doing? Team Jesus Outdoors, how's it going? Justin, hope everybody is doing fantastic tonight. It's a Memorial Day weekend, so I'm not sure how many people we're going to have in here. Excuse me. Anthony, are you guys staying pretty dry for the most part this weekend?
Yeah, all weekend it's been really, really nice. It rained the first night, but not very long, and all day today it's been really hot.
Okay. That's a whole lot better than I've had it.
Yeah, well, the weather's supposed to get bad here later. I just checked it again, and I guess Tropical Storm Alberta is supposed to hit us around 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So
yeah, that's rough. I'm not looking forward to that at all, but I'm glad the rain is almost over. I think we've had wet days for 12 days, something like that here. It's been ridiculous, and I've had my kayak for about 12 days or so now, or less than that. But when I announce the name of the kayak, you guys will understand why I have named it this. So, super hot and humid here in Ohio.
What'd you name it again? Blue Thunder or something like that?
It's something related to that. We'll see what I call it. So if you guys have any questions for Anthony, we're going to be talking bass fishing tonight. I know I have a lot of catfishing friends in the chat. If any of you have any bass fishing related questions that you might be unfamiliar with, tonight's the night to ask. I'm really excited about this stream tonight. I'm going to get a lot of questions answered myself. Nasty, hot, humid, lots of rain here in Florida. And from what I hear, it's only going to get worse for you there in Florida.
It's weird because we're bands. It's like everything else is going more in the Gulf.
Yep.
So, trying to pull up your chat here so I can see what they're saying too.
Good deal. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this. And I've got a list prepared. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. If I'm going too fast for any of this, you guys stop me and tell me to slow down. So, Anthony, in your opinion, for a beginner bass fisherman, what is the best bang for the buck? Rods, reels, tackle.
I would say to go with a spinning rod just because for a beginner, a bait caster can be pretty difficult. So you can go to Ardent and get a reel. It's called a Ardent Finesse. It's one of the best spinning reels out there for a beginner. Smooth, has a 3-year warranty on it. You get that and you can pair it up with like an ALX Promise 7, which is a spinning rod. Or you can spinning rod like a Denny Brower spinning rod. They both have a 1-year warranty. But I would suggest getting a spinning rod before trying anything else. As you can get online, it'll run you for the rod from Ardent. It would be about $100 with a 1-year warranty. The reel is $40 with a 3-year warranty.
2 of these cups.
And then you can get go to Walmart and get you some of the Cajun line with monofilament and spool it up with that. That Cajun line is about $10, I think, for a whole spool. So that setup rate I can suggest for it.
Okay, good deal. So definitely I would recommend that as well. Start with a spin reel. Unless you're just really devoted to your push button reels. If you guys are not interested in trying an open face or a bait cast reel at all, go ahead and stick with what you're comfortable with.
You can definitely keep a Zebco 33 on you too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I started with, was a Zebco 33 throwing a bobber and crickets. So
yeah. What about tackle? What tackle do you recommend them staying away from?
Staying away from as a bass fisherman for a beginner? A jerk bait is definitely one of them. Frogs can be kind of hard. I would stay away from the stuff that takes some skill, like your walking baits, jerk baits, deep diving crank baits, stuff like that. Now, as a beginner, I would keep a Texas rig, I would keep a jig, and I would keep a popper. Those 3 right there, because those are the simple and most easiest things to learn and to use. But as far as like a jerk bait takes a lot of skill because you got to shit under the water. A frog, you got to be able to walk it, and you got to know how to pause. So stuff like that can be difficult at some time. So I would stay away from that type of stuff.
Let's see. Marty says hi. Johnny Anthony is from North Carolina. He is from. We have Greenville.
I'm in Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah, Greenville, North Carolina, not Greenville, South Carolina. Justin said Barbie pole with a speed rod and reel.
You'd be surprised. One of our friends that also does YouTube, Heather, who is at Grab Life by the Fish 1, she actually kicked my tail with a Barbie pole. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. She also rocks the Doc Demon quite a bit every now and again.
I seen Team Jesus put up there that spinning tackle limits what you can throw, and that is true. You don't want to spinner bait on spinning tackle or anything like that. But as far as a beginner who's just now getting into bass fishing, that's why I suggest that, because yeah, it may limit your tackle, but it also will get you into knowing your baits and knowing how your presentation needs to be when it comes to using a spinning reel or vice versa.
What's your PB, Anthony?
Mine?
Yep.
9.2.
9.2. He was on Catch of the Week with that, I think. Was that the one you sent in?
No, that was a 8-pounder. My personal best, yeah, my personal best was 2 years ago off of Sharon Harris Lake. And it was a fight, too, because it was a 9.2-pound bass, and I caught him on 10-pound monofilament line on a spinning rod throwing a shaky head, and he wrapped me up in a trolling motor.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, so
Outdoors Weekly
was
is in here. What question do you have, Outdoors? Go ahead and shoot it. This ought to be interesting, Anthony.
I like my marshmallows burnt.
Why does he look like a leprechaun? I think that's Bryce's go-to for you.
Yeah, he asks it every time I'm live.
So in the chat, let's just get a viewer's preference right now. When you roast marshmallows, guys, do you burn it? Or do you sit there and inspect it for 10 minutes till it's perfectly brown? Everybody answer that in the chat for me.
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, I burn it until the fire goes out on its own.
How do you enter Catch of the Week? So Catch of the Week is very simple. You take a picture of a fish and you send it to me through Facebook, Instagram, or email. They're all yakinwithsarah, just like it's my channel name. If anyone is new to the channel, Catch of the Week, I show you guys halfway through the show here, and then I show you again on Wednesdays.
See, look.
There's a lot of people say it burnt. There's a lot. See, Bryce? Burnt is the way to go. Hey, C, how you doing? Oh, yeah, burnt is definitely the way to go. I even... Okay, next question. If you burn your marshmallow, flaming mellow, that's right. If you burn your marshmallow, do you eat the black part? I do.
Yes.
That's the best part, in my opinion. We went camping last weekend, and Anthony had his campsite, I had my campsite, and then Bryce and his buddy came and hung out with us, and they were making fun of us for burning our marshmallows. They were sitting over there inspecting it every 10 minutes, or every few minutes, and waiting until it's perfectly golden brown, getting their flashlights out and making sure it was golden brown all the way around. And, yeah, see, everybody's saying yes. Slicer G, what's up?
The way I cook it is I stick it in the middle of the fire, let it ignite, pull it out, let the flames go out on its own, and pull it right off and match.
Don't do like Anthony did. Don't pull it off with your teeth and burn your mouth.
Yeah, I still got a scar for that.
That was bad. Okay. So,
but it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. We had a blast, and our kids had a blast too. So for any of you that don't know, this is Anthony Horton Fishing. I know a lot of people just jumped in the chat. We were a few minutes early tonight. His link is in the description below. He's a bass fisherman. He's a great guy. I got the chance to meet him last weekend. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. He's almost, what's your next goal, Anthony?
500.
29 away from 500. So if we could help him get there, he's going to be doing a reel giveaway. Free reel, guys. So.
Yep, a 6-skill cyclone.
Yep. And any beginner bass fishing questions you have for him, he can answer. We're going to go real basic tonight because I know a lot of folks out there don't know a lot of in-depth stuff about bass fishing. So we're going to just go straight into that. Johnny wants to know, do you use watermelon seed worms?
Yes, I do.
I do as well. In fact, I really like using lizards. I know a lot of folks don't care to use those anymore, but that's probably my favorite go-to. Either a watermelon red speckle lizard or a watermelon red speckle brush hog are my two favorite Texas rigs.
I use a finesse and a Senko.
There you go. Outdoors want to know if his video has gotten you any help, Anthony.
No, it got me 1 subscriber.
Well, that's a little bit of help. Fight fish tackle.
How long has it taken me to get to 450? Well, I've had my YouTube channel now for 4 years. I'll put it to you that way.
How long have you been active, though? Because you were inactive for a while.
Yeah. It took me about 6 months to get to where I'm at right now.
There you go. What is the proper rig for a Senko?
Texas. I have done wacky and all that stuff, but I've gotten more good quality bites using a Senko Texas rig than any other rig.
Yep. Let's see. Being a cat fisherman, I'm still new to the bass fishing, but I do love my spinners and flukes. So, I use spinners every now and again, and I use flukes every now and again. Those usually aren't my go-tos. If you see my channel, you know I love the Texas rig. I do love every now and again to throw a spinner. I love topwater more than anything else, though. I think that's most of the time that's the case because it's so much fun to throw.
Nothing beats a Rebel plopper, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Lizards is all use. Sometimes I switch. Oh, lizards is all you use. Yeah. That's I use a very specific, the KVD rage tail lizard, and it's my favorite. I don't know why. I guess because I've had so much luck on it. But they're extremely hard to find. And they aren't super expensive, but they're not the cheapest one out there. And for some reason, I just can't get over them. I always buy them. Don't hesitate to throw a Cinco on a sea rig.
Yeah, Carolina rig.
Yeah.
I normally throw a lizard on a Carolina rig or a big old monster worm.
Wow, Bryce. Wow.
Yes, I use crankbaits. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of you.
You're
Just
fine.
reading the comments.
Go ahead.
I think the post spawn is, or the bass are in their post spawn right now. They just got off their beds, so the bass are going deep. So Carolina rig is key. Deep diving crankbaits is key. Anything that's going to get down deep and get to those bass is what's going to be vital right now. As far as deep diving crankbaits, I don't use the big profile ones. Like you got some of the man's crankbaits that go like 25 feet deep, however the profile. I'll use Rapala shad wraps to get down deep. They got a real tight wiggle. They go down deep and they're tiny. So that's what I suggest using.
KB says he doesn't know how to properly rig a crankbait. All you have to do is... Go ahead, Anthony.
There's many different ways you can do it. A lot of people like, because they switch out crankbaits so much, putting it on a speed clip or something like that. I don't this is with the action, but what I do is I tie it straight to my monofilament, and I do use monofilament because monofilament gives stretch, and fluoro doesn't stretch hardly, and braid definitely doesn't stretch. But you want that stretch in the line so the bass can inhale that bait. But I'll use what we call a San Diego jam knot, which I can go into a video later with you on how to tie it. But I'll use a San Diego jam knot straight. And then I use 10 to 12 pound because I want that bait to get the max depth out of it. If you use anything more than that, it's going to not get down to where I would use 10 to 12 pound monofilament line, and then use like the crankbaits that I told you to, and stay away from the speed clips. So.
There you go. It's as easy as it gets right there. Tie it straight onto your line and you're good to go. My best bass was 7 pound on a creek chub under a cork while going for shovelhead. Shad wraps are best cranks on spinning equipment. Yes, I agree. Smallies up. We don't have smallies here.
Yeah, I haven't caught one. That's one of my bucket list fish too.
Yeah, I live on Lake Hartwell, and we definitely don't have them here. To use worms and lizards, maybe. What's that?
Zoom is a great company. I'm not dogging them. However, different companies of plastics, they alter their plastics different. Like, if you ever use a Senko by Gary Yamamoto, you know that his plastics are really, really soft. That's why you get a different action out of them than you do, say, a net bait or a Zoom. So what I would suggest is there's also one of the best things I can do if you're a beginner is get a subscription-based company like Lucky Tackle Box or Mystery Tackle Box, somewhere where you can try out all these baits, where they pick them for you and you don't have to do any of the the thought process behind it. But get out, try different companies, try different baits, and just look at the action and the way that they build these baits that are different from company to company. I personally know I use NetBait and Dwayne's Custom Baits, and I know exactly what type of plastic they use. And with Dwayne's, you can get it hard or soft, however you want it. But that's the real big difference with Zoom and any of the other ones is the construction into the plastic. So some have more salt, some are soft, some have scent impregnated in them. So just try it out. Give it a shot.
PGH, tonight we're talking about basics of bass fishing, really. So any questions you might have, because I know I have a lot of catfishing friends that are very avid cat fishermen, but don't do very much bass fishing. I've also got a lot of bank fishermen that watch that just use live bait. So we're going to be talking about ways to introduce them to different types of fishing and bring the fishing community together, because you know that's what the channel's all about. Bryce, I did see you trying to go live today. I also saw you throw your phone on the ground several times. I thought that was very entertaining. Need to get you one of those Chotec phone chest mounts. Let's see what else. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Like Smalley Bed fishing video in the morning. That would be an awesome video. I'd love to watch that. So, for any of you, I'm going to break this down even more because we've been talking about this. Texas rig and Carolina rig. I'll let you talk about Carolina and I'll talk about Texas, just the basics of what it is. Because some folks, go ahead.
A Carolina rig is meant for deep water. Let me just put that to bed right now. You can use it shallow. Designed for deep water. It was designed to keep that bait on the bottom and you're calling it across rocks. What you do is you have a swivel, or you can go out, they pre-make them, but you get a heavy brass weight with a bead and a clacker, which is like a little metal ring. So what you would do is you would put the brass weight, about 12 inches from the hook. Then you put a bead and a clacker behind it, and then tie a swivel, and then you get that 12-inch lead to your hook with your soft plastic. What it's meant to do is as you're dragging that bait across the bottom and bumping into stuff, that weight is going to hit that bead, and that bead's going to hit that clacker, and it's going to make sounds down on the very bottom of it. So that's why you want to get it, like if you know that there's a road bed or somewhere where you're fishing, you're looking at your electronics and you know there's something down there that the fish are holding tight to. It's warmer down there. You can make some sound. That's when you want to throw a Carolina rig. Now, what I use as a plastic for Carolina rig is Zoom makes what they call the Old Monster. It's a 10-inch worm. You use it in Tequila Sunrise on a Carolina rig, and you're dragging it slow. It's got a long ribbon tail on it, so you're still going to get a lot of action out of the plastic, as well as getting the sound out of the brass weight from it clacking against the bead and from it hitting on the road bed, the rocks, the pebbles, or anything that's on the bottom. You really want to make a lot of noise with that bait to get a good reaction strike from that bait. So that's the Carolina rig.
That was a much better explanation than my Texas rig explanation is going to be. So basically you want to get a bullet weight for your Texas rig. Go ahead and throw it on the line first. Then you're going to get I like to use a worm hook or something along those lines, something that's going to have a bit of an offset. Go ahead and tie that on. I, as you guys know, love my lizard, so I'll throw a lizard on it. Every now and again I'll throw a brush hog, and then everybody loves throwing a Cinco on it as well. It's a really easy rig. It's a go-to rig for me, and like I said, it's an easy use.
Can I input something?
Go ahead.
Too?
Feel free.
Okay. A lot of people don't do this, but I have found a lot of success in Texas rigging. A fluke by that is if you fish on the Potomac, you know, or fish around here anywhere, the grass mats can get really, really, really thick. Peg Texas rig and then peg it. Don't let it slide, but put a Texas rig fluke on and peg it, and you draw it across the top of that grass, and you find a hole in the grass and drop it down in there. You'll start getting a lot of fish strikes that way. So that's just something that I do.
Very interesting. We don't have too many of those grass beds here on the lake I fish, but I didn't realize that. I've never thought about putting a fluke on it. K&B asked, what about hook size?
It depends on what you're fishing. If you're just going out doing fishing from the bank, I would use no smaller than a 3 and no bigger than a 5. If you're punching or flipping or doing anything that has a lot of structure and you know you're going to get hung up a lot, use a heavy set hook such as a 5 or heavier. But you want to keep it small, but you don't want to lose all your strength. So I would keep it anywhere from 3/0 to 5/0.
Team Jesus Outdoors said bank fishermen can use a modified Carolina rig by using a 1/2 ounce bullet weight instead of a heavy sea rig weight. Yep, definitely. I just free line with no bullet weight. You can definitely do that. There's so many, I mean, there's no wrong way to do something. I mean, some of the craziest things, you know, you wouldn't think that would work. Like, I see people take lizards and they like the body style and they take off all the legs for whatever reason, and they like doing it that way. And they're comfortable doing it that way. That's one of the things you need to remember. If you're comfortable doing something, it's going to be better for you. You're going to have more confidence in it.
Well, and I can tell you a little trick too. The reason why they do that, sorry, I'm moving the light because I got my legs. But the reason why they take all the legs off of it is you have freshwater eels. So if you take the legs off of a lizard and look at the profile of that bait, it'll look like a freshwater eel.
Hey Dewey, how you doing? Speaking of Dewey, Dewey has a missions trip coming up. If any of you guys would like to help him out with that, and you have a Krispy Kreme near you, or you just want to donate to him, feel free to contact him. He can hook you up with a Krispy Kreme coupon. I believe they're like $20, and it's a whole card filled full of buy one get one free dozen glazed donuts, and it's a great cause. Let's see. I always peg them when flipping heavy cover. Yes. The pegging is a controversial thing I found. If you follow any bass fishing things on not on YouTube, on Facebook, you'll see that pegging is very controversial.
Yeah, to peg or not to peg, yes, that is the question.
That is the question. No problem.
I do both. I peg when I punch. That's the easiest way to remember it. I peg when I punch.
What about lily pads? I have a body of water that is full of lily. Oh, this is going to be a fun question. Full of lily pads. I know punching through it would be better than 3-pound bass, but what is the best rig to punch with?
To punch with?
Yeah.
I use a 2-ounce tungsten weight with a punching skirt, a heavy-aught flipping hook, and some sort of beaver style bait or a cross style bait. But the key to punching, you don't really want to punch lily pads, you want to punch grass. Lily pads, there's a different rig that I use with lily pads. If you're punching, you want to flip that bait up high and stop it as you want it coming straight down. And a 2-ounce weight is going to be like a bullet, so that way when it comes straight down, it's going to pierce through whatever mat, whatever grass you got there so you can get down below it. However, Heather can attest to this because she's seen it firsthand. If you're fishing lily pads and you're not comfortable fishing like a frog or a buzzbait or something in between the pads, a paddle tail bait, a swim bait or something like that, throw it weightless. Let it come across the top of those pads. When it comes off the pads, swim it slow. Not real slow, but just enough to get that tail to look like it's a swimming fish. And 9 times out of 10, if there's fish there, they will strike it.
All right, we have officially caught up on questions except for Team Jesus. Yes, he has a mission trip coming up. He's going to Trinidad. If you're not subscribed to Dewey's channel, I highly recommend you do it. It's an amazing channel, lots of family-friendly content, and he's just an awesome guy. His whole family's awesome. Let's see. Let's talk about types of fishing. There's crank fishing, there's swim bait, there's topwater, there's Texas rig, there's Carolina, there's all kinds of different types of fishing. When is it appropriate to do each type of fishing? We've talked a little bit with the Carolina rig when you're deep fishing for fish deeper. But for other stuff, when is it appropriate to throw those different rigs?
One thing to remember is the hotter the warmer gets, the more active the bass get. But very, very, very high in the summer and very, very, very low in the winter. So when it's low, you want to slow down. So when it's low, you want to use what we call finesse style baits, such as your jerk baits, your drop shots, your shaky heads, stuff that you can work really, really low. In the summer, it's completely opposite. This is where you start using your top water baits, where you're going to see the bass explode. They're going to chase stuff. So start using your Texas rigs and stuff can get real close to cover, especially top water. Use frogs, buzz bait, poppers, these things that we call a bango lure, which is like a jerk bait that's a top water lure with a spinner blade on the back of it. Stuff like that is what you want to use in the summer. The biggest thing, though, to remember is in the summer, it's moving. You want moving baits. In the winter, it's slow. You want stuff to be still and finesse, and you want to entice that bass to bite.
That's right. Perfect.
Fall, you don't have to worry about it because they're trying to get fat and happy in the fall, and they'll eat anything you throw at them.
What do you do in clear water when they don't bite? You tick them off. That's what I like to do when they're not biting and I can see them sitting there. A lot of times, if I throw something at a bass over and over and over again, eventually they're going to get ticked off and bite it out of spite.
That's where a lizard comes in handy.
Yes.
A bass's worst, one of their enemies, the thing that they hate is a lizard, especially when they're on their bed. So if you take a lizard and you draw it and they're active on their beds, you will get hammered. They hate lizards.
Johnny, his link is in the description below. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. K&B said they have caught some nice bass off poppers. Yes, that is one of the go-tos.
I got the Lucky Tackle Box tournament box this month, and it had the most expensive popper in it I have ever thrown. And I'm kind of scared to use it. I've caught one fish on it so far, but it's so expensive.
You know what? They've got it's something called a grass burner that they sent me. It's been, I know, 7 months. It's been a year ago, and I still have yet to use it. It was like a $30 lure. And it looks amazing. It's huge for one, but it looks amazing. And I've been so scared to use it. I can't bring myself to do it.
Dewey says his favorite is watermelon seed lizard. Dewey, I want you to try something. I like a watermelon seed too, but I also use what we call lizards. It's a white with a black speck in it.
Yeah.
I've found that those are really, really good in the summer too.
I'll have to try that. I haven't tried any of those. I've always stuck with my watermelon or green pumpkin. Every now and again I'll do a black and blue.
It says I'm going in and out internet on inside. If it does, it may be a little bit shaky, so I do apologize. Guys, I'm apologizing to you right now for the background noise. I am at my campground right now in Twin Lakes, North Carolina. We're spending Memorial Day here, so the internet's kind of shady, and there's thousands of people around us.
I can believe it. I guess we've kind of talked about this. How do you choose what rig to throw and when? That's kind of what we just went over. Yeah. How do different conditions change the way that you fish? As far as it raining, it being windy, it rained 2 days before, whatever.
When it's raining is really good for top water because the bass cannot tell what's up top. The reason why all the raindrops disturbs the water surface. So I would use a buzzbait or a popper when it's raining. Now, if it's the hardest times I ever have fishing is when it's 90+ degrees outside, not a cloud in the sky, the sun's right overhead, no wind. That to me is the hardest time to fish.
Yeah. Because
nothing I have had works. When you doing that, you got to really get really close to either cover or get somewhere where it's shady, because that's where the bass are going to be. They're just like us. They don't like to roast themselves, so they're going to find cover. They're going to find shade or cooler water. So when it's really hot out, focus on those things. When it's raining or when there's cloud cover, that's when the real fun begins. That's when you can start throwing your buzz baits and stuff that you can get reaction strikes out of.
When it's windy, do you want to throw a certain direction towards the bank or away from the bank, depending on where the wind's positioned?
Wind-blown bank, if they know what a wind-blown bank is, when the wind's blowing into a bank, I would fish those. And the reason why is a lot of people think that the wind is going to push fish onto the bank. That's not the case. What happens is when the wind's blowing into a bank, it's pushing that plankton, that stuff that you see on the top of the water. It's pushing all that into that bank. Well, it's plankton, so the bait fish are going to follow the plankton. Well, bass eat bait fish. So what you want to do is you want to follow that wind-blown bank, and you can throw parallel depending on where it's coming from, or you can throw perpendicular. It all depends on exactly where that wind's coming from. Now, if the wind's hammering into that bank, like it's perpendicular to it, I would fish the points of it. I wouldn't fish directly on that bank. I would fish along it, or I would fish the points of that bank. And the reason why is that wind, when it hits that bank, it's going to spread out rather than go across it.
Dewey had a good question. When water is clear and then suddenly muddy. So I guess after a big rain, maybe.
Yeah, you stay in the clear water. The only time you would want to go into the muddy water is if there's no current. A lot of times if you got clear and muddy, there's going to be current where there's muddy, so you want to stay in the clear water. However, if it's muddy because maybe it got through raining and it's really muddy, find it where there is no current. So find little like ditch points and stuff like that, and throw a June bug or a black and blue flake. Throw there. But I would stay away from muddy water as much as I could, because 9 times out of 10, it's muddy because it's either high current, flooding water, or something that's making it muddy.
How about just muddy water in general? It rained for a week straight. The whole lake is muddy. There's no water clearancy. What colors are you throwing?
Find structure, black, red shad, June bug, anything dark. Stay away from green pumpkins. Stay away from things that are chartreuse. You want really dark colors. And then the other thing too is you got to remember, those bass don't have glasses. They can't see through that stuff either. So what they're going to do is they're going to use their lateral line, and they are going to hug next to wood, next to anything that they can keep their position off of. So if you're in a completely no cover, but yet you see one stick somewhere, fish that stick, because 9 times out of 10 that fish is going to be hugged up right on that wood.
And let's go to the opposite. Super clear water. Let's say a quarry or a man-made lake with rock bottom. Super clear.
Find humps. If it's a rocky bottom, find areas down deep. Find little offshore humps. Find the current. Find a place where these fish are going to be, because clear water can be tough, but it also can be rewarding. If the fish can see you, then it's going to be tough. But if you can sneak up on them and not get within visual sight of them, but you know the fish are there, then you will be able to get a strike 9 times out of 10. Now, clear water baits that I would use, crankbaits, anything that looks real, white, chartreuse, golds, green pumpkins, stuff like that are really good in clear water. Green pumpkin is one of the best clear water crankbaits, you can get the chartreuse, or you can get like the natural shad colors. And then a jerk bait is, as far as hard baits, the very best clear water baits there is, because it mimics bait fish better than any other hard bait out there.
All right, before I go to that next question, Dewey, I'm getting an echo from you, Anthony. Oh, it's gone now. going along with finding the humps and stuff like that, if you are a bank fisherman, you don't have, or if you are in a kayak or in a john boat or whatever, and you don't have a GPS, or not a GPS, but a fish finder or depth finder, and you can't see these things, the perfect thing for you to do is go to Google and Google Navionics by Garmin Company, and you can pull up, like here is my Lake Hartwell where I live on, and it will show you all the humps, all of the river ruts, all the roads that used to be there under the water. It'll show you all of that. I'll show you this on my phone if it'll let me do it, and not to be stupid. It looks like it's not gonna let me. Okay, but go to Navionics right here, and definitely pull that up on your phone. You don't have to get the app, just go online and it's free, and you can pull up your lake and find all of these amazing spots that you didn't know were there, either whether it be the humps or whether it be an old road trestles or something, railroad trestles or something like that, and it'll show you all of that. So I highly recommend everyone doing that. It's completely free to go and look up your lake and find different spots. So I'm gonna go to Dewey's question now. How about fishing jigs when most of the bottom is nothing but grass?
Do a swim jig. Use it as a swim jig. So keep it off the bottom. It look like a cross swimming through the water. So up and down movements, vertical jigging, but you want to keep it off the bottom, unless there's open spots in the grass. If there's open spots in the grass, definitely fish those. But as far as if everything on the bottom is covered, do it like a swim jig. Keep it off the bottom. Keep it about a couple of inches from the grass line, and just vertical jig it. Keep it moving. Keep it going. Reeling it in.
Gavin, I'm doing fantastic. I hope everyone is enjoying their Memorial Day weekend. Wasn't sure how many people were going to be in the chat tonight, but we have had quite a few questions, so that is fantastic. I'm really glad to see some folks. I hope everyone, like I said, is having a question. You have a question?
I do.
What's that?
It's time for Catch of the Week.
Oh, it is. Thank you so much. That wasn't even planned. Alright. So I'm going to go into Catch of the Week right now. Thank you for that. If you guys don't know what Catch of the Week is, because I would have kept talking. If you guys don't know what Catch of the Week is, it's where you guys send in your pictures. You do not have to have a YouTube channel to send in pictures. I take them, I put them in a little video clip for everybody to see, show off your Catch of the Week, or whenever you caught it. All you have to do is send it to yakinwithsarah@gmail on Facebook or on Instagram. They're all spelled the same now. yakinwithsarah, no spaces. Send it in of your grandkids, of your kids, of you, of your uncle, of your aunt, of your granny, of your grandpa. I don't care who it is. Make sure you give me some information though when you send it. If you have a YouTube channel, include that. Age of kids, if you want to include that. The name of the kids, if you want to include that. And make sure you give me permission to use it. So let's get to it. Catch of the Week. Uh-oh. Catch of the Week. No fish too small, no wrong species. I just want to see you getting out there and catching fish. First up, we've got on YouTube, Fishing with Big D. This right here is Josh and Brian, both on the Whopper plopper. We were talking about that just a little bit earlier. Then we've got Bottom Dollar Outdoors. New PB channel, 14 pounds. Fantastic. Make sure you're leaving everybody some love in the comments section. The Life of a Fly Fisherman, also known as the Fly Fishing Ninja. There are so many PBs this week. It makes me jealous. It has rained for 12 days straight. Look at that bass. You guys have seen him catching several smaller ones, and then that one is just massive. Whisker Stix Fishing. New PB on a lunch break. Like I said, there's a ton of personal bests this week. That is fantastic. Didn't even know there was a fish that big in that pond, he said. Then we've got Anthony Horton. He's my co-host tonight. This is his wife. Out fishing him 10 to 3. Oh, Anthony. Then we've got CatfishBill 66. Look at that demon dragon right there. 10-pound channel on the Muddy River Demon Dragon. On YouTube, FishinBilly. All these YouTubes are in the description below as well. Double up catching slabs. Fantastic, guys. Then we've got D catching a catfish here caught at Candlewood Lake. I believe that is in Connecticut. I apologize if I'm wrong, D. The Wyatt Life could not be here tonight. He is camping with his family. 13.5-inch crappie and a bass from his wife. So thanks, Wyatt Life, for sending that in. That is awesome. I always love getting pictures from you guys. Musky Hans, look at that smile. Showing us how it's done. Sportsman 101 on YouTube. First bass of the year on topwater frog. It's that time, guys. It got hot quick. Then we've got my favorite part, the future. This is all the kids 16 and under. From the fishing hobby, this is his daughter. First fish in her brand new kayak. That is awesome. Then we've got Old Man Catfish, and he's in the chat. This is his grandson, Bentley. 4 pounds, 2-ounce blue. He is famous in his kindergarten class from these videos. I thought that was awesome when I heard that. He shows them off. Get you back in here, Anthony. There we go. So let me pull up the chat to catch up on it. Anthony is camping right now, Tiffany. He is celebrating Memorial Day weekend, but offered to come on the show and help us out.
Yep, and as soon as I get done with this, guess what I'm doing?
Fishing.
Exactly.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the catch of the week. Like I said, make sure you're sending those pictures in every week. You can send them in multiple times. I love it. This is my favorite part of the week. Every day I'm getting in pictures, and it's just fantastic. Must be nice, Anthony. That's what Johnny said.
Well, I got to get as much as I can before the storm gets here because it's supposed to rain all week long, yeah. Unfortunately.
How many of you guys out there are going to be getting the weather that we're expecting here from this, it's not a, is it a tropical? It's not a tropical storm. It is.
It's a subtropical.
Subtropical storm. All right. How much do you rely on your sonar?
I use it to really find fish, but I use it as depth, water temp, and structure is what I use it for. I don't think no sonar out there is good for actually finding fish, but that's my opinion. A lot of people rely heavily on it, but I don't. I just use it for pretty much like math, water temp, and then to see if there's structure underneath the water column or not.
Okay. I do not have any sonar, so I don't rely on it at all. If you guys were to ask me. You still there, Anthony? Anthony? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your bass boat. You have a brand new bass boat. Go ahead and tell us what it is.
Well, it's not. It's brand new to me. I was on it when I pretty much brand new. But I got a 2014 Nitro Z7. Has a 354 stroke on the back. It's the best boat I've had. It's smooth, it's quiet, it has tons of storage. It's a tournament setup rig. I have it with a Power Pole Pro Series 2 shallow water. I have a Lowrance HDS 8 with structure scan on a ram mount at the console. I have a Lowrance Mark 5 at the console. That one I use for depth and water temp. Then up at the front by my trolling motor, I have a Garmin Striker 7 SV Plus. The cool thing about that one is it does what we call active mapping. So you may not have a nav card or a mapping card for where you're fishing, but what it does is it scans everything on the bottom and it creates its own map. It creates and it puts points in. So if there's any structure that you go over, it'll mark it on the map and save it on the map for you.
Yeah.
I also have a Hydro Wave to cover up my sounds of the trolling motor, which helps me get it doesn't catch me more fish, but it keeps me from any sense. So rather than them hearing the trolling motor, they hear bait fish sounds, which is always good.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about something that you have going on right now that I've mentioned in one of my older videos. That is the tournament that we are all in.
Yes.
So there's a tournament going on through what's it called? Hang on, right? I've got it right here. FatSack, yeah. There's a app you can get on Android or on Apple called FatSack, and it's basically online tournaments. And Anthony has one going on. It's a $10 entry fee. You get a number after you pay your $10, and that number has to be in every picture. So you weigh your fish. The fish has to be in the picture. The weight on the scale has to be in the picture, and your number has to be in the picture. And then you put it in the FatSack app with all that information. And it's lasting a year. So there's still plenty of time for everybody to get into it. Currently, right now, I believe Tiffany is in the lead.
Yeah, she's leading.
She has caught a buttload of fish here lately.
The winner that has the most weight at the end of the year will get a kayak.
Yes, winner gets a kayak. Sorry.
Yeah, yep. The more the better the kayak. Right now it's a Walmart stand, sit on top, not sit in, but sit on top. That I'm buying right now because we don't have enough to cover the fee for it yet. But once we get more in, then it'll be the.
Yep. So, Anthony, I think your sound was going in and out a little bit there, but it is going to be a Walmart sit on top kayak. And Anthony is going to cover a lot of the cost because we don't have enough people in there quite yet. But I'm pretty confident we can help out with that. We can get someone in there tonight. It's a $10 entry fee. That's not very expensive, and you have a whole year to catch. So, I mean, you know, while some people may have amazing
you could get
summers,
the best season of your life and get 40 pounds.
Yeah. So, while some people may have amazing summers, what's that?
So there is no size limit. You can have a lunker.
Yeah.
All you got to do is weigh it and add it.
Yep.
Because it's catch and release. It's not catch and keep.
Yep. Exactly right. Hey, Jim. How you doing? I hope you're feeling better. Jim had a collapsed lung last week. So I hope you're feeling a lot better. So yeah, any more questions you guys have for Anthony? I've got one or two more myself. I'll go ahead and get. How do you enter? You
Johnny,
go ahead.
Yeah, go to PayPal and you send $10 to ncbasschamps@outlook.com, and then you download the FatSack. Download the FatSack app. You'll say live tournaments will be in the menu bar. You click on it and you'll search for us. The name is Heavy Hitters Tournament.
Yep, Heavy Hitters Tournament. Is largemouth bass only, correct? Large in spot?
Huh?
Is it large in spot?
Well, it's large spot and small.
Okay, large spot and smallmouth bass. Dewey. Total weight at the end of the year.
Yep.
Keep watching NCIS, Jim. You'll get better soon. That's great. Let me pull up those questions one more time. All right, so going into bass fishing, a lot of people talk about, this is my swim bait rod and reel combo. This is my Texas rig combo. This is my worm rod. What does all of that mean, Anthony?
Each rod has a different action, a different length, a different tip. That's why if you look in my boat, I have like 35 to 40 rods, and each one of them does something different. You could have a 7-foot medium heavy and a 7.6 medium heavy, and it still does two different things. So a swim bait rod, you got to think you want a swim bait rod that is going, it's a heavy to an extra heavy, because 9 times out of 10 your swim baits are a lot heavier than your other baits. And it's going to have a stiffer backbone. Now you can get an extra heavy with a fast to a moderate fast tip that'll give you enough backbone, but it'll also give you enough to be able to fill in that bass and Gulf set. Medium heavies are pretty much like your general purpose rod. That's for like your Texas rigs, you know, some top water, stuff like that. General purpose. It's like an all around. That's what I would consider is going to get like a 7-foot or 7'3" medium heavy with a moderate fast tip. That will be your best rod bit. Medium, which I use for crankbaits or spinner baits, so I would consider those my cranking rods. My spinning rods, which are like my 7.6, and then my crankbait rods are a little bit shorter. I like them shorter because I'm pretty much sticking my tip of my rod in the water when I'm cranking, because I want that bait to stay down deeper longer. So I'll use a shorter medium for cranking and a longer medium for like spinner baits and stuff like that. But that's what it is. It's for each technique, Texas rig, stuff like that. You take what you're comfortable with and you apply it. So your heavies, you just got to think that that's pretty much throwing a broomstick.
Yeah.
There's no give to it. Your mediums, it's like throwing a wet noodle. It's going to bend and fly over the place. But that's why you want to use that for things that you want that bass to inhale. So you want that flex. You want that stretch of that line. You want to give that bass a chance to inhale your bait so you can have a better hookup. So that's just the way I look at it. Is for genre, you're going to have a different action and a different tip.
For anyone that is new to bass fishing and wanting to get into more specifics, I highly recommend a 7-foot medium heavy for just a all across the board rod.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Anthony?
Yep, 7 to 7.3.
Yep. I know that's what I've used for a while. I'm getting into more specifics now. But that's definitely what I would go for if I were you guys.
Other thing too, if you're doing a lot, if you're somewhat experienced and you know how to fish a frog or some sort of walking bait or even a jerk that you need to be able to twitch that rod with,
yeah.
If you fish with me, you know Bryce will admit to it, I'm short. So when I'm standing on the front of the boat and I'm sitting there trying to walk a frog, if I have a really long rod, I'm going to be slapping the water. I mean, that's when I would go with the shorter rod, is if I got to use it because I'm short to be able to use the baits that I have. And then fishing from the bank is different too.
Yeah.
It all depends on where you're fishing, because if you're fishing from the bank, you don't want a really long rod because then you're going to be slapping the trees.
All right. What is a good weight scale to use for fishing? Let's go with best bang for the buck. It's going to be just any, go to Academy and find one.
Yep.
I know you're teamed up with, I think, Connect Scales, Anthony. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
That's a more expensive scale.
They're really good. They're Bluetooth.
What's that?
The Connect scale is really good. It's not really that expensive. Yeah, you're paying $100, but now you're getting the conservation calls from Cali clips with it for 100. I believe it's either 100 or 150. It records all of your fish that you catch. So if you weigh them, you can record it, and then it Bluetooths your catch straight to your phone and automatically downloads it into that Fat Sack app. So
yeah. It just depends on what you want to spend. I got mine for $15 at Academy.
My first scale I got for $5 from Ardent, and it lasted me 2 years.
There you go. KMB wants to know, is open-faced or bait cast better?
That's a really tough question to ask because each one does something different. I'll put it to you this way. Open face is my finesse reels. That's when I want to slow down. I'm using it for shaky heads. I'm using it for drop shots, stuff like that. I will not put a spinnerbait on a spinning rod, ever. Because when you put it on there and you reel in a spinning rod, it's going to go completely different. It's going to go wild. Now, bait caster, I'm going to be able to cast for accurate than you will on any other setup with a bait caster. So it really depends. Now I have maybe 30 bait casters and 5 spinning because of that. My spinning I pull out in the winter when it's really, really tough because it's a finesse type application. It's not something that you use all the time. However, a lot of people aren't comfortable with a bait caster, so you can use a spinning reel throughout the year. But that's just my opinion, and that's what I do.
Johnny asks what kind of I use a Berkeley. It's just up to a 50-pound scale. When I remember to use it, when I remember to take it with me, I should say. I have a 6 and 7 medium. Okay, I answered that one. I want to talk to you guys about something new to the channel. That is these upcoming events down below, because we're about to wrap all this up. We've been on for an hour. But down below here, I've got some upcoming events. If you guys have anything upcoming in your area and you guys want me to announce it on the show, you'd like to see more people go to it, I'm all about getting more folks out on the water, getting more people out the house. Just let me know. In my area, some upcoming stuff. First off, we have the FIshing Rodeos. Let me pull that up real quick because I don't want to watch it scrolling. But we have the FIshing Rodeos. There are several throughout the year. They're actually starting to wrap it up now. There's 3 left. One is this weekend in Lawrence County. It's at Lake Rabin. June 2nd from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. This is for kids 5 to 15. So if you have kids 5 to 15, take them out, bring your own equipment, and they're going to be guaranteed to get on a fish. It's an awesome program that the DNR puts on. I'll probably be going to the one in Charleston. No, not Charleston. In Chesterfield. That's going to be in September, though, so it's not listed on here. Another one is next weekend. Right, not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend. It's in Charleston. It's Sioux Youth Fishing Rodeo, June 9th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You can get all of this. Just look up Fishing Rodeos, South Carolina. Another event coming up, this a pretty big deal in the catfishing community, is in Quincy, Illinois, Fishing for Freedom, June 1st through June 3rd. It's an awesome event where cat fishermen that have boats are going to take out veterans on the boat for free, put them on some fish, get them out of the house, get them away from everything, and just have a blast. It's a huge event. I think 250 boats are going to be out there doing it. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see the footage from that. I wish I could go myself. Another one, June 2nd as well, is the one that I will be attending. We're going to have the Saluda River Rally. It is on the Saluda River. It is going to be in Greenville. Let me pull that up on my phone real quick. In Greenville, we're going to be meeting at Dolly Cooper Park. It is 25 bucks, but you get a t-shirt, you get a meal, and you get a campsite for 25 bucks. That's per boat. It's kayaking or canoeing down the river. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be fishing while I go down it. You can do a 3-hour or a 5-hour trip. That is, let's see, a 9-mile or a 15-mile trip. Like I said, you get the boat registration, you get the t-shirt, you get the barbecue plate, and you get a shuttle all the way back. Heather joined us, Anthony.
I see that right when I'm about to have to go.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that and you have any questions, make sure you're contacting me. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like I said, if you want to be part of Catch of the Week, make sure you're sending in those photos. Anthony, do you have any last words for us before you go fishing?
Thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully something that I brought to y'all's attention helps y'all. If not, hopefully y'all too. We're all a family, so we all got to stay close-knit together.
That's right. Make sure you're subscribing to Anthony.
Being on here with you, Sarah. So I really appreciate it. Make sure y'all go to my channel and subscribe. That way you can try to win a 6-gill cyclone reel. But thank you, Sarah, for having me tonight.
Oh, no problem. Loved it. I think everybody learned something. I sent a couple to you this next week. I'll send info to you. Okay, fantastic, KB. All right, I am going to be ending this. If you guys have any other questions, make sure you're contacting me at yakinwithsarah@gmail.com, on Facebook or on Instagram. I'll try and get with you as soon as possible. As always, I'll catch you later.